Hello, everybody.
How's it going?
Welcome, welcome. It's Mr. Levine,
And Mr. Moss.
and we're back at it with another edition of us going through vocabulary and going through these key terms that we're going to need to know for our new topic. So, we will get started with our first term, which is legislative, which is an adjective. So, that is having the power to make laws. So, the US Congress makes laws for our country's national government. That would make them our legislative branch of the government.
So they have the legislative power for our national government. And now, if they have the legislative power, they have the legislative power to create federal laws. A federal law is a law created by the country's national government. And in order for that to happen, Congress needs to pass that particular law, which would then be passed off for the president to sign into effect. So we can see over here there are federal laws for the entire country, but then in addition to that, they do have state laws. And they have local laws, but those are known as ordinances.
Okay, so now going to our next term, which is bicameral. So, when the legislative branch has two different bodies of lawmakers. So, in our case in the United States, we have the House of Representatives and we have the Senate. So, if you think back to our Constitutional Convention project and how we learned of the sort of compromises that need to happen, right? The Senate was created because it is not based on population. Every state gets two members to the Senate, no matter whether you're little tiny Rhode Island or great big giant Texas. Whereas the House of Representatives is based on population. So if you have a huge population like California, you'll have a lot more representatives than a place with a very small population like Vermont.
Absolutely. So next up, we have congressional districts. Every state has congressional districts. That's the area of the state that has the right to elect one member of the U.S. House of Representatives. So you can see over here, we have the state of Massachusetts. The state of Massachusetts has 9 congressional districts, and they vary in area because each particular congressional district is made up of about 600,000 people. So you can see there's a really, really tiny congressional district surrounding the area of Boston. But if you look on the western part of Massachusetts over there, where you can see that's a very large area of land. There's one congressman or woman representing that particular district. So the city of Lynn, their congressman is this person over here. Who is that person, Mr. Levine?
So that would be Seth Moulton from Salem, Massachusetts.
So Seth Moulton from Salem is the congressman for this particular area. He represents Salem, the city of Lynn, and the other towns and cities in that particular part. And where's his office, by the way?
It is actually in Salem, right on Derby Street, I believe.
So in addition to having an office in Washington, D.C., because he is the lawmaker, he goes there to make laws in Washington, our nation's capital, he also has an office in the area of Salem.
All right, so on to our final term here. It is enumerated powers. Okay, these powers are the powers that the U.S. Constitution has clearly given to Congress. So these are federal powers. So in the Constitution, it states that the federal government has the power to coin money. So if you ever look at a dollar bill, that's why it says, I happen to have a dollar bill here, right? The United States Federal Reserve, right? So they federally have the power to create dollar bills. They also have the ability to declare war, right? So you won't just hear the state of Massachusetts is going to war with so-and-so country. It would be from the federal government, the whole nation going to war. And this is stated within the Constitution. So we will also learn more about those powers that aren't stated in the Constitution. Who do you think might be in charge, Mr. Moss, of the powers that aren't in the Constitution?
Let's see, if the national government doesn't have that particular power.
Correct.
I'm thinking it's probably the states that would have that power, because if the national government doesn't have it, clearly somebody needs to have that power. So it's probably the states or even the people themselves.
Yeah, I'd say that's an excellent guess.
Mm-hmm. So we want to thank everybody. So we want to make sure that we've, get working on our next assignment. If you have any questions, you could let us know. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.